Yeah, so if we take out our cell phones or iPads right now and we Google the word Pebley, it no longer will be Jacob Pebley, the American swimmer. It'll say Pebley case. Why is that? Because we now have a case that is published. We talked a lot about how this organization helps us pass bills, kill bills. Well, we also change law through our courtrooms. And this is one of those cases that has been cited more than any other case since its decision that has helped more than our clients than we can count. And this is how it all started. Back in May, late May of 2016, we were a firm of 5 or 6 lawyers at that time. I was in trial. Tom Fair was in trial. SEVY Fisher had been with our firm for a year. We had just hired GREYSON and GOODY. They both went to Thomas Jefferson Law School right here in San Diego, which I think just lost its accreditation, so speaks to the volumes you guys did. But they seemed all right, you know. They could hold a conversation, you know. So I get a call from GREYSON one day, and he says, hey, I got this new case. I'm encouraging to bring in cases and these things. And I said, okay, what is it? He tells me about this crash that happened up in Ventura that involves a product liability aspect where they're denying liability, where a guy had a 3-level cervical fusion with $400,000 on lien, of which there's a $50,000 offer. I said, GREYSON, that sounds all well and good. Well, when is trial? And he says, the trial's in 2 weeks. I said, well, you got to be kidding me. So what's going on with experts? And he says, well, there's a motion to strike all the experts because the lawyer that has it is not producing dates. He's getting sanctioned. And the client called me directly to see if we can take on this case. And I said, look, Gray, I believe in you guys to a certain degree, but you guys can go out there and try that case. You know, go ahead, go for it. So SEVY had just had his first son a month before this, and God bless his wife gave him permission to go up to Ventura for GREYSON, which now turns into a 3-week battle about a product liability case, disputed liability, and the way that they were able to change law started with motions to eliminate, which they wrote themselves, to talk about the healthcare industry, to talk about how Kaiser is an HMO and how people should not be required to treat through HMOs. They should have the quality of care that they choose, and the court should not limit them to where they're able to go. That started in the papers and the motions to eliminate. Then SEVY Fisher argued at a 402 hearing, and they've never tried a case. This was their first trial. They were 20-some years old. They did a 402 hearing, got their billing expert excluded. He had a very limited amount he was able to testify about. And if you look to the words that SEVY questioned that witness on, those are the words in the published opinion of Pebley that EHRLICH echoed, that the Supreme Court or that the appellate court went and upheld. And if you read that decision, it actually says how terrible Kaiser is. If you actually read it, you can quote it in whenever you're arguing these motions to eliminate. But it started with that 402 hearing. And then but it started before then because when they took the expert depositions, and they had 6 experts on the defense, they inherited a bunch of experts that we have never worked with before. Never even met. They met there's a tire blowout case. They met their tire expert at the bar at some hotel in Ventura. He was wearing a cut-off Harley Davidson t-shirt, and SEVY says, that might be our expert. I think it is, and so sure enough it was. So anyway, these guys start with the expert depositions to pin down even the defense experts saying that Medicare does not pay reasonable value, that health insurances do not pay reasonable value. Patients should not have to go to Kaiser for treatment. If you have an HMO, you should not be bound by it. And the way that they framed that issue in motion and in the 402 hearing and throughout the trial was, it is a patient's right to choose. This is not about liens. It's not about XYZ. That be it. So I'm halfway through. We're doing good. Let's go to the trial. They go through a trial where they're trying a case against a boat of members who have been trying cases a long time that are friendly with the judicial system up in Ventura. And against all odds, these guys are picking a jury. They've never done that before. They close, and they get a little cocky, and they ask the defense, you know, let's try to do a high-low, right? Let's do a high-low. You guys have $1 million policy. Why don't we cap it at like $900,000? We'll do a low of like $300,000. They were doing a good job in trial. You know what the adjuster said? I'll offer you $100,000. That was it. Okay, fine. So they go try the case, and I'm done with my trial by then. I'm sitting in my kitchen, and we're wishing them all good luck on our chat room and stuff. And after 30 minutes, GREYSON says, oh, verdict's in. I was like, whoa, shit. I was like, well, good job, guys. I love you no matter what. Blah, 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 blah. We're picking them up. And I'm talking to my wife and my brothers on a separate chat. I'm like, well, we got defense. There's $250K on there. But sure enough, not only the jury came back 12-0 on every count, but 12-0 on every single penny they asked for. It was $3.664 million, 100% liability. They didn't believe a single word the defense said. But it didn't stop there because the defendants in that case refused to take any payment, refused to take any responsibility, said we're going to appeal it, told them they're on the courthouse steps. The adjuster got in their face and said, you guys are never going to collect a penny of this. They then went and hired Horowitz and Levy to fight their battle in appellate court. So they even though Grayson wanted to write it himself. I said, Grayson, they got guns, we got guns. We hired Jeff Ehrlich, he was one of the brightest appellate lawyers. Him and Mr. Stevens are here. We have great appellate lawyers. We hired Jeff, and he got into it. I think you were in a trial too. I think that's how it went down. So anyway, Jeff wrote, a beautiful, the way that he framed it and couched it, it was like he was there during the trial, and we can't take these things for granted, because when we have cases like the ones that they have and they go up on appeal, they're going to help shape our case law that, for better or worse, is going to make an impact on a lot of our cases. So Jeff did a wonderful job. Right before that appellate decision came down, he did a great job arguing. The defense called again. And what did they say? Well, we'll tender the $1 million policy. This is what they said finally. We're like, well, pound sand. So then after the decision came down, and it was amazing for us, what do you think they did? They called and said, we're gonna go up to the Supreme Court. We'll offer you $1.5 million. Like, come on, you gotta be kidding me. So after a 3-year battle, 2.5-year battle, because the Supreme Court did not reject it until like September of 2018, we finally got this published opinion that is now cited in all of our cases, thanks to 20-something-year-olds on the first case that they ever tried that protected the record better than most any lawyer that I've ever seen, and that should be the definition of a street fighter award, of 2 young individuals, trial lawyers, going out there, doing what they got to do, and protecting the record to make sure that all of us benefit from it. Thank you very much. 6.5 minutes, Greg Rizio.